Perfectionism is not helping you. It's actually holding you back. What you really need is not another impossible standard to chase. It's only a vision of your future self. Your future self is not just a version of you that's more successful. That's not what we mean with the future self. It's actually a version of yourself that is closer to who you truly are. And it motivates you to take action without fear. So let's dive today into how your future self can guide you out of perfectionism and into real growth. Hi, I'm Vassia, psychologist and founder of Anti-Loneliness, and here we help high achievers and people who want to make an impact in the world, entrepreneurs and professionals, to overcome perfectionism, procrastination, and of course, avoid burnout so that you can thrive personally and professionally. If that sounds like you, don't forget to hit subscribe for weekly insights and strategies. So, in today's video, we will explore why perfectionism holds you back and how your future self, an incredible concept by Ben Hardy, can guide you towards growth, fulfillment, and success. And I'm going to give you strategies how to actually use and connect with your future self. So, first, I want to clarify what's the difference between perfectionism and future self. Perfectionism is restricted. The most important thing that I want to say about perfectionism is rooted in fear. The fear I'm not going to be enough, the fear that I'm going to fail, the fear of that I'm going to be judged, fear. And that's what drives me to perform. And it's like running a race without a finish line, or with the finish line that keeps moving further and further away. And one of my clients, an incredibly talented entrepreneur, spent months rewriting her website copy. Months, maybe it was a year, because she didn't think it was perfect, and tweaking and changing. And the result? Of course, her clients missed seeing her website and booking her and working with her. So not only she missed opportunities, but also her self-doubt kept increasing more and more and more. So psychologically, perfectionism triggers our flight or fight response, making us hyper-focused on avoiding mistakes or looking for threats in our environment instead of embracing growth and looking what works in our work. And this ties, of course, directly into procrastination. You can see why we procrastinate because we're being perfectionists. It's not safe at all than to try falling short. So the question for you is, have you ever delayed a project or a decision because you felt that it wasn't perfect or that there were too many things at stake? And what were the opportunities you missed because of it? You can put it in the comments, or you can actually write on your journal about that. The difference now with the future self, we said perfectionism is restrictive, but future self is expansive. Ben Hardy says that your future self is the version of you that is free of fear and self doubt. It's the person that you aspire to become, living aligned with your values and pursuing your dreams. There's joy there, there's no fear and self doubt. Of course, there's an amount of stress that is logic and expected, but there's nothing like crippling fear and analysis paralysis and self sabotage. So, unlike perfectionism, which criticizes you for where you are now, your future self encourages you to move forward and embraces where you are now as just another step for coming closer to your future self. And I'm going to share a quote from Ben Hardy. Your future self is not someone you discover, it's someone you decide to be. It's someone that lives inside you. That's what I read into this quote. It's somebody that already lives inside you, and you decide to be that person. So, for example, imagine your future self looking back at you today, your future self 5 years from now or a year from now. Would they tell you to wait until everything is perfect? Or would they urge you to start, take messy action, and learn along the way? Your future self is more motivating than your perfectionism. We got that. Because perfectionism says, don't try unless it's perfect. And your future self says, go on, start now. Growth comes through mistakes. So that's one of the things that one of my clients realized, that when they stop obsessing over perfect product designs and instead focused on launching prototypes, then her future self has inspired her to act. And her business, of course, took off because she embraced imperfection. And by the way, now that I said taking action and inspiration to act, if perfectionism and procrastination and analysis paralysis and overthinking are holding you back and actually impacting your growth, your career, your clients, your relationship with your clients, even, my 4-month program, Stop Perfectionism and Start Growing, was designed for entrepreneurs like you. So, in this program, we will help you connect with your future self and leave perfectionism behind for good. Or we're going to keep only the healthy part of it. So, the link to join the waiting list is in the description below. So, now how to connect with your future self. Step one, visualize your future self. Take a moment to imagine your future self. What do they look like? What kind of life they're living? Where do they live, even? What do they do the first thing in the morning? What do they do the last thing in the evening? When they face challenges, how do they handle it? What does their daily life look like? How many hours they work? How much time they spend with important people in their environment? What kind of hobbies they have? Really, the clearer you have this vision, the stronger the motivation to act in alignment with it will be. So, the journal prompt for this step is write a letter from your future self to your current self. What advice would they give you? What encouragement would they offer? What would they say about the things you're worrying about right now? What would they say about the things that they enjoy there in the future? They're bringing you some insights from the future. What are they? Step two, act as your future self. Every decision you're about to make is a step closer or further from your future self. So when you're stuck, instead of just going into the rumination and the overthinking, ask yourself, what would my future self do? Don't think as you now, because maybe your brain is really foggy and you cannot think clearly. But what would my future self do? How would they spend their money? What would they respond to the client? So, for example, if your future self is confident and decisive, how would they approach that big decision you have been avoiding? And now, step number three, use future self for self compassion. That's a very important, I love this step. Your future self is not there to judge you and rush you and tell you that you're so slow or that you're doing it wrong. Your future self is there to encourage you. So they understand that growth isn't linear and that mistakes are part of a process. So this perspective also helps you replace the harsh voice of perfectionism with the voice of kindness and support. Especially as an entrepreneur, and I know from my own experience, but I also know from the entrepreneurs that I'm working with, perfectionism can cost you time, energy, opportunities, your clients, your network, your mental health, of course. I'm a psychologist, I know that. Anxiety, depression, burnout. Your future self, though, inspires bold action. And by imagining our future self, we celebrate every small win instead of criticizing every imperfection. And just that part of celebrating small wins can increase productivity and help us found a newfound sense of joy in our work. That's what we want, actually. That's what we became, why we became entrepreneurs, so that we can do whatever we want, do the job we love, and enjoy it. We don't want to lose that. So take action. Take the first step today. Take 5 minutes today to write the letter from your future self and share one thing your future self would say in the comments below. Share it with us. I'd love to hear your vision. And if, of course, if you're ready to take this even further, join the waiting list for my 4-month program, Stop Perfectionism and Start Growing. And together we will help you connect deeply with your future self, overcome perfectionism, and achieve the growth you've been dreaming of. So remember, perfectionism keeps you stuck in fear, but your future self inspires you to act with courage and clarity. And trust that every step you take brings you closer to the life you want. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can continue this journey together with me. Your future self will thank you. So see you in the next video.